Hi everyone. Today we'll be starting the new course, which is game development with Phaser and TypeScript. I am very proud that we are going to be able to give you this course, since I hope that will be quite interesting. We'll be making original games, and we'll be showing how to build a game from scratch, basically, but also publish it on the stores. And also, instead of just going through the technical stuff, how to write with Phaser, as we did with the previous modules. We will also be talking a little bit about game development in general, the phases through which each game goes from the idea to publishing it, and also marketing, monetization, and so on. So yeah, you all know me, I hope, by now. But we'll have more lectures this course, and there are quite a few of them. So this is me. We have Roddy, which is now sitting at the back of the room, and he will be doing a lecture along with Lubo on marketing and monetization. I hope that you enjoy that. This is Lubo. He's a chief marketing officer down at Zariba, and he likes games, sports, and so on. This is Ivo. He works at Fractal Games. He will give you 2 lectures, which I'll show you in a second. And we have Vasco, and he will give you your introductory lecture to TypeScript. I'm sure that all of them will do fine, and some of them, I hope, a lot better than me, in any case. Right, so these are the lectures. Here I've put a couple of things that we'll be doing. So this is the Android logo, so we'll be publishing the game on the Android store. Also, this is the logo for Cordova, and we'll be using that to publish our HTML5 game on the store. We'll be using WebStorm, Phaser as your engine. Also the Android Studio, which we'll have to install, see how it works, what does it provide, and so on. Okay, so this is the first one here, number 0, where we introduce the module, and I would like to straight away go down here. In this lecture, but it's not going to be recorded, we'll be choosing a specific game, and we'll create it from scratch in one of the next lectures, as I promised. Alright, then we have one, which is game development and game design. So my job in Fractal Games is game design. So I can give you, it's a very creative process. I could not give you a recipe, this is how you come up with a game. But I can give you some guidelines. I can tell you how I do it, and hopefully you will be able to make your own method once you start making games, or if this is the role that you want to have in a team which makes games. And also game development here as a process. So how does it work? Where do we start from? What are some milestones that have to be covered in order to start with the idea and then publish it and market and monetize it as well. After that, we have this lecture number 2, which is going to be done by Roddy and Lubo. And you will know, at least see what happens after you finish your game, because I don't know if I've told you that graphic design, writing the code, especially, this is not when the game is ready. The game is ready, and it can be put on the stores, but it's not gonna generate any profit unless unless you have lots of luck. I mean, I can give you an example, but I'm sure that you know it. So yeah, so it's very important. It's equally important what happens after you've written the game and it's ready. There are no bugs and the architecture is perfect and so on. In order for a game to be successful, there are a lot more things to be covered. So this is going to be a lecture about that. Okay, then we have introduction to TypeScript. This is going to be just a single lecture. You should know at least I hope you do some JavaScript, and we'll see how much easier it is to write code in general with TypeScript. You have classes there, you have namespaces, and in general it looks a lot like C#, not the same, and you don't have the same tools. You can't debug as if you are in Visual Studio, but it's a pretty good step forward from JavaScript, I think. And this is why in ECMAScript 6, which is the newest version of JavaScript, they have implemented a lot of things coming from TypeScript precisely. But since it's not supported by browsers, we'll just use TypeScript, which is going to convert our code to JavaScript automatically. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get there. Then we have introduction to Phaser. So here I'm going to take a different approach. Instead of writing code with the examples, I am just going to show you the website, and there are plenty of examples there. And we are just gonna play around with those examples. So instead of having to create something from scratch, we can just go to phaser.io, and up here we have examples. And once you click on a single example in here, you can type code in here and run it directly in your browser. Which is really cool in this site specifically. Yeah, you can click, it's looped and so on. But inside here, if I change the code, what should I change? Can I change something here that let's add it to 0, 0, and let's see if that's gonna do anything. So then I can run it, and the mummy is gonna start at the top left corner. So this is what I'll be doing, just playing around with the code a bit, showing you some interesting examples of this, very big, I would say, collection of examples, and this is how I will introduce Phaser. I don't know if there is a need for a second lecture, Advanced Phaser, which will be pretty much the same thing but more complicated concepts in Phaser, like groups, text, bitmap text, and so on. I'll see. Just give me a second, I'll pause. Right, so I'm not sure whether there is a point of this specific lecture, or we should get straight away into creating our own game that we'll be thinking about today. But yeah, we'll see as the time goes. Okay, so finalizing the game here means we have to prepare it so that we can put it on the store, which means that there are a lot of things to be done here. Some things that we cannot do with HTML and JavaScript. They have to be done inside Android Studio. We are gonna add something like native sharing of your score, just Cordova project, stuff like that. It's a bit more technical, and every time when someone downstairs has to do it, they have a detailed instructions step by step on how to do it, because it's not that easy. So I'll just go through the steps so that you have the resource straight away, so that you don't have to go online and look for it. Also, after that, we'll be making an account with Google Play, and we'll be publishing our game there as well, which I believe is going to be quite cool. Showing you the process, from start to finish, from the idea to the actual publishing, step by step. Okay, workshops. I think now is the time to say that lecture number 1 here, lecture number 2 is gonna be in Bulgarian. So those people that are watching from overseas, I guess they will not be able to understand it, or we can make a voiceover or subtitles. I'm not sure now, but it's not going to be available straight away after it's given. The same goes for workshops number 3 and 4. But everything else will be led by me, or in this case, the TypeScript lecture will be done in English as well. But yeah, everything else will be given in English, so you'll be able to follow the actual technical stuff on how to create the game. Okay, so workshops, which are also not gonna be, or I haven't decided that yet, because these are very Bulgaria specific topics, I would say, but I don't know yet. They may be in English, maybe not. I'll see if I'm gonna publish those on YouTube. Okay, so number 1 is creating a good CV, and I think this should be a part of any course, even at school these days, because the CVs that we've seen, some of them are just terrible, and you shouldn't do those things that I'll give you as a list, and bad examples and so on. And I'm gonna give you some personal insight as well on a good CV, and we'll see where that leads you, because I believe that the way companies assess you when you apply for a job is first by your CV, and if you have a bad one, you are just not gonna get an offer at all. Okay, so after we've done the first step, which is have a good CV and send it out, they may call you for an interview, and this is what we'll be discussing in number 2. So what kind of questions can come up at an interview? How should you answer them? And this one, the second one, is not going to be about technical questions, because you should know those, or at least before the interview you should have a look at some design patterns or something. We'll go very briefly through the technical questions that can come up, but it's going to be focused more on the other part. How should you be dressed? What kind of extra tricky questions they can give you? For example, how much would you like to be paid is a very common question at the end of an interview. And there is some guidance that you have to follow on how to answer questions like this, where the answer may not be 100% clear to you. Right, so Ivo from Fractal Games, he's this guy here with the glasses. So he'll be doing a lecture as promised on version control systems. I'm sure that he'll give you a very good lecture on that, because he uses them every day, and developers in general use them every day, but I think he's more into this than at least most of the people in the company, so I'm sure that you will learn a lot from him. And again, Ivo will give you, as promised, a workshop on 3D cube with HTML5 and CSS. That cube from our page that we have. So let me show that. Well, something like this, like a cube that rotates around. He'll show you how it's done. It uses a bit of JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but I think it will be very beneficial for you, even though this course is very game oriented. It will be useful for you to see how a front-end developer takes a task and makes it work along all browsers. I think that will be also quite interesting to see, because once you write the code and it works in Chrome, this is pretty much where the work starts, because you've made it work, and after that it breaks on every other single browser, and it's just not cool, I would say. This is why I'm not a front-end developer, because once you are done with the job, you have to redo it or refix it 3, 4, 5 times after that. And even if you do, after that there is always Internet Explorer, sorry Microsoft, there is always Internet Explorer to ruin the party as well. So yeah. Okay, any questions on the lectures? Do you have any suggestions for workshops, anything that's on your mind that I may have missed? I've thought this through a lot, but when there are 20 or so people thinking and giving a suggestion, it could be quite useful. Is there a lecture that you would like to see besides those ones? I'll let you think about it, and I'll ask the question again at the end, at the end of the lecture. All right, so evaluation, and we are gonna go into huge detail about this after the video. But pretty much homework. You will probably get close to no homework because first of all we've covered the basics. Simple algorithms. How to work with data structures. And hopefully you've done your homework on JavaScript and so on. So there is no need to make you rewrite things for TypeScript. But I'll give small optional exercises after every single lecture if you want to read more, if you want to practice a bit and so on. This will be it. But 100% of the evaluation will be the teamwork project, and this will be the biggest one that you will have done at this point in the course. And there are a couple of reasons for that. As said, this course is about making a game from the beginning, from the idea to publishing. So you will have to do exactly that. So instead of just writing the code and showing the game in front of a jury, you also have to have the APK along with native shares and other things that are done after the game is ready. Also mandatory GDD, and that will be detailed, and should also include marketing and monetization strategies. Okay, so you have your idea. It's either great or not, depends. But what are your plans on making money with this game? And this is going to be quite important, and every GDD should have at least a paragraph on that, or something on that topic. Right. So timeline, I'm thinking more like 1.5 2 months, I think, although 2 is a bit too much. I hope that by the end of September this course will be done, because otherwise we will have to make a pause somewhere at the end. I'm not sure. Monday and Thursday from 6:30 to around 10, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, the drill. And one week will be given. I didn't finish this, so 1 week will be given to complete your teamwork projects after the last lecture, because in the very last lecture we'll be publishing the game. You will not be doing that, but there is some preparation work that needs to be done in order for the game to be completed. So yeah. And finally, questions, and also if you have any suggestions about the course, I would like to add them straight away in the video. So let me pause here, and if there is nothing, this will be the end of the video anyways. So we have a very good question from the audience, which is why are we not gonna publish for iOS? So the answer to that is for you to be able to publish on the iOS store, you have to have a Mac, and currently we don't have a Mac. But the procedure is very, very similar. So if you know how to do it for Android, you can have a look, take a look at the differences. I'll probably make either a presentation or some kind of a guideline on how to do that for iOS, because now that I think about it, there are a couple of differences there. But you can always follow it up, and you can publish your game on the iOS store after that with the instruction. I'll make sure that it's well written, and I'll probably mention it in the last one here. I'll probably mention what are the differences between what we are going to be doing in lecture number 10 and how would you do it for the iOS store. But it's pretty much the same. You have to go on the iOS store, you have to make an account. It takes 2 weeks to verify. They call you on your phone to make sure that you are a person, I think. And after that, you have to have certificates there for your developers. You have to have, I forgot what was their development tool. I think it had a blue icon, but I'm Xcode, yeah. So yeah, that one you have to have that. You have to import your certificates there, and after that you can publish. There are ways. So there is Xamarin Studio, which can publish for iOS as well, and even it even uses C sharp. You can write your apps for C sharp and publish them on iOS, but unfortunately it's not made for games and it's not optimized for games like a game engine would be. Otherwise we would be writing that, because who doesn't like C sharp, at least from you, I hope. Now that you've seen JavaScript, I hope that this is gonna be pretty clear. So yeah, I'll give you an instruction for sure, but I won't be doing it here because we just don't have a Mac in the academy, and I've never used one. And I was gonna say something like a very personal opinion about Macs, but I'll just keep it to myself. Just not a fan. I like my Windows since Windows 95 is the first one that I've used when I was five years old. So yeah. All right. I'll pause again for other questions if there are some. So yeah, I guess that'll be it, and I'll see you next time.